Everyone makes mistakes and we need to learn from them.
You have to make mistakes and learn from them.
Hello, my name is Barry and this is my bed. Do you have chronic bed rot? Welcome! Even if you don't, that's okay. You are welcome here. Back by popular demand is Gypsy Rose Blanchard Life After a Lockup, Season 1. When I started this YouTube channel, I was covering Love Island and Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Love Island got me a lot of views on TikTok, don't get me wrong, but the people stayed for Gypsy Rose Blanchard. And when I suggested that I redo my Season 1 videos, because they were these like little 10-minute videos, you guys were all in my comments telling me to redo it. So here we are. They start the first episode of the show out with a previously on. It shows clips from her show Prison Confessions, which is kind of like a prequel to this, I guess you could say. Contemplating covering that show as well. If you guys want me to, let me know. But I hit skip on that. We skipped over that. They kind of at the end of it remind you who Ryan is because you see a little clip of it. If you hit skip, you see a portion of it. They show an interview from the confession show with Gypsy talking about how she doesn't want to be remembered as the girl who killed her mother or was abused by her mother.
I want this to be like, okay, you know my story. All right, now let's see what I do with my life.
Well, so far, Gypsy, you're running your life into the freaking ground. After the previously on, they have a little intro where they're showing news clips and articles to kind of remind you of who Gypsy Rose Blanchard is, what her crime was. And then news articles talking about her getting out of prison, and they say that she's a sympathetic hero. Gypsy's murdering her mother makes her a hero. That's just blasphemy. They're showing a bunch of little TikTok clips of how it's trending that Gypsy Rose Blanchard's getting out of prison, and one guy was like, Gypsy Rose Blanchard is iconic. Iconic. Matricide schmurderer. 4'11" schmurderer is iconic. I guess you could. What? Look, guys, I'm Ryan. Can you believe this shit? Can you believe this shit? This is gross to me. To call Gypsy Rose Blanchard a sympathetic hero, an iconic sympathetic hero. Even before all the medical records, all the emails, erase all that. Okay, me thinking back to 2023 when Gypsy Rose Blanchard was getting out of prison, I thought it was insane how people were reacting to it. She's still a schmurderer. A schmurderer is going to be loose on the streets, and she's an iconic, sympathetic hero. Insane. Insane in the membrane. Insane. Got no brain. I just don't understand people who condone murder like that. I said schmurderer earlier. This is for YouTube, not TikTok. This was not self-defense, people. There's a difference. This was premeditated murder. So that's kind of the little intro. The first thing we see is Gypsy Rose, and she's walking in. She's got her brown prison outfit on. She's walking into a room that looks like probably the visitor's room. Like it looks like a lunchroom in a cafeteria. It says on the screen, 36 hours until release date. She's all smiles. Big ol' smiles. She's so excited. I really don't see her smile like this again until she's like released out of prison in the end when she leaves Ryan. I want to add that in season 2, during the Christmas time episodes, Gypsy talked about how she didn't get to celebrate Christmas as a kid or even in prison. Ken tells a story about how she used to put drawings of a Christmas tree on her wall in prison and they'd make her take it down, which is, I think, bullshit, but whatever, Gypsy. And I notice her walk right by a big old pretty Christmas tree. You don't get to celebrate Christmas in prison, but yet they put up Christmas trees in prison for you. Right there in the cafeteria. Production asks her why does she want to document this part of her life? And she says,
ever since my case was all over the media, all over the news, people have been on this journey with me. And I think that I've outgrown this pigeon version of myself a lot of people have come to associate me with. I want to be Gypsy Rose Blanchard, a survivor and an advocate for people that have been through what I've been through. I want to be someone that my family can be proud of.
But I feel like that doesn't really answer the question on why she wants to document her life. I mean, I kind of pieced through it, and I feel like she's sick of people thinking of her as the prison Gypsy Rose Blanchard, so she wants to document her life to show you she's not that version of herself anymore. And to say you want to be an advocate for people who've been through what you have been through. But I thought your case was unique, unprecedented. So what people are like you, Gypsy? I thought you wanted to advocate for prison reform. You never did that and weren't ever going to, were you? You were only going to advocate for people like you, which is no one. They show a house in a neighborhood, and on screen it tells you that Gypsy's family has traveled from Louisiana to Kansas City, Missouri. I was confused the first time I filmed this and I talked about it. I'm like, what house are they in? because they're not from Kansas City, Missouri. Who are they staying with? Family? Like, what's going on here? And everyone in my comments was like, it's an Airbnb, Barry. Like, no, duh. I don't know why I didn't think of that. I don't know. Airbnb. I did not think of that. I think I also was confused at the beginning when I was watching it as to why they went to Kansas City, Missouri instead of staying in Chillicothe where the prison is, but it's all because of the damn football game she wanted to go to. We see Christy in the house and she's decorating a Christmas tree. This bitch brought a whole ass Christmas tree to the Airbnb. And she's like, I like a lot of lights. And there's just boxes of Christmas lights around her. Mia's sitting on the couch and she asks, what is Gypsy's favorite cake? And Christy turns around all serious, icing with buttercream. She knew it just like that. Mia asks what they want to get on the cake and Ryan's like writing? Like letters? Oh, we're just gonna give her a white blank cake. Like Mia's smart ass. Ryan was thinking of toppings. What toppings do you want on this cake? All the fixins. I think that's what he was thinking of. What do you want on a cake? What do you want on your pizza? What toppings? What, like letters? They show Rod cooking in the kitchen and Ryan comes in. Hey, Dad, you need any help? I know this was probably the first time he ever called him Dad. For the cameras. They show Rod in an interview with production and he's talking about how everyone needs to make mistakes and we need to learn from them. And that's what he wanted her to do with getting married in prison. Make a mistake and learn from it. So what I got out of his statement is that he knew she was making a mistake but let her make it anyway. Didn't give her any advice or tell her, hey, maybe you shouldn't do that. He just let her make her mistake so she can learn from it. He says, I wanted her to make that choice and wanted her to have to live and learn from that, quote unquote. The whole time this interview is going on, they're showing Rod and Ryan in the kitchen and Ryan's hovering over him while he's cooking in the kitchen, trying to bond with Rod. Well, Ryan is sweating so bad. Like his hair is drenched because he's so hot in the kitchen. Ryan says, isn't it crazy the day's finally here? Can't believe it. And I've only been waiting 3 years. Y'all been waiting 8.5. I really got to put that into perspective. Like, rub it in, Ryan. Rub it in. Y'all been waiting so long and I swoop in here and get to go and pick her up. Rod's like, yeah, I'm a little jealous, but that's all right, bro. Voiceover of Ryan talking about how he's the lucky one that gets to go and pick her up. A lot of people wanted that honor and I got it. I don't know how. I pinch myself. They're treating her like a celebrity. I feel like this is why Gypsy Rose Blanchard thinks she herself is a celebrity, because the people around her treat her as though she's a goddamn celebrity. Like, why is it some honor to pick up a murderer from prison? Who said that? Rod interrupts this sentiment, and he's like, you pick her up and y'all do some crazy shit. I got a lot of guns. What do you mean by this? Like, what does he think they're gonna go do? The way they edited the show as well, when Rod says this and threatens him with the guns, Ryan doesn't say anything. He just looks at him and then walks out and leaves the room to go outside because it's getting so hot in the kitchen. And they go to a commercial break. I was about to say, I know Ryan. Like, I don't know Ryan, but I've watched his lives. I know how he interacts. He always has some witty, funny retort to where I feel like he said something back to the Rod about that, made him feel like you don't have to worry about it, but production cut that out. I would bet my bottom dollar that's what they did. Cut it out. They were making it look like there's some little drama there. Because after the commercial break, they come back and Ryan's outside. And he's like, oh, it's getting hot in there. Like, insinuating that the conversation was making him get hot. But no, that man was sweating his balls off in that kitchen. He's like, it's like a damn oven in there. You're standing over the damn oven while it's on. Next, we see Gypsy, and she's talking about how Ryan is different than her exes because her exes were just in love with the idea of her, but Ryan's like in love with me. Like, it's acting. You know what I mean? Like, she planned out what she was going to say on camera. She might have even practiced it in her head. That's what I feel like Gypsy does.
So deep inside that the only person that gets to see that is my significant other. And I kind of feel like everyone else ran, and he didn't.
Basically, in Gypsy language, she's batshit crazy, and Ryan's a simp. He didn't run like Ken did, just like your daddy. I wonder you like Ken so much. He's just like your daddy. Daddy issues! They have this shot of Christy in the bathroom, like through a door crack, watching her put dry shampoo in her hair. So you have created a bond, and she feels comfortable calling her mom. That's weird. Christy mentions that Gypsy originally thought that after Rod and Christy heard all the things that had happened and all the information that they would run. And Christy talks like this is blasphemy that Gypsy would think this, but it makes total sense because they moved to Missouri and then she never saw y'all again. Christy says, I put my hand up to the glass, and she put her hand up to the glass, and I told her I'll never leave her. So dramatic. With the theatrics of it all. Seriously. Ryan's going to leave. He's got to drive a couple hours down to, I don't know where Chillicothe is from Kansas City. I'm from Missouri, and I don't freaking know where Chillicothe is. But he's got to go drive there. And he calls Christy and Rod mom and dad and tells them he loves them. They don't give two shits about you, Ryan. They really don't. You're embarrassing yourself. As he's leaving, Christy tells him to try and get some sleep. He's like, all right, I'll try. He ain't planning on sleeping. His wife is getting out of prison. You know what's going on. Bow, chicka, bow, wow, wow, wow. And that's what weirds me out, that Christy said, try and get some sleep. And he says, I'll try. Like, they all know what's going on. They all know. Next, we see Rod being interviewed by production, and they ask him, what does he regret? And he says that he regrets general neglect. Have done so much more, he says. That is something about Rod you could give him credit for, is that he owns it. At least he does something wrong and he won't deny it. That's something that Gypsy could probably take out of his book. Accountability. Rod says that he thinks that there's some reconciling that they need to do, and they probably have questions for each other, which I thought was interesting because they've been speaking and on good terms for 8 years while she's in prison. So what are these questions? Obviously, there were questions you have for her that you didn't want on record in the prison. That's what I got out of it. I don't know about you. That's what I think. By the way, as a reminder that the neglect he's talking about is actually from ages 14 to 24 because they lived in Louisiana before that and he had an active life. Dee Dee and him were co-parenting. There's pictures of it. So I don't know where this whole she was keeping Gypsy from Rod thing was. He's even saying, I neglected her. We see Ryan driving to Chillicothe and he gets a phone call. Somewhere in this episode, I saw him pull his phone out of his pocket on his shirt, like a button-down shirt with a pocket. And I didn't know anybody under the age of 60 used those pockets. But he answers the phone all, hey, baby. She instantly goes into talking about how she's star crazy. She's star crazy in there. No, hey, baby, to you too. No hi from Gypsy. Just instantly going into bitching about what's going on.
I'm star crazy. God, I can't wait to get out of here.
He mentions that her family asked what they're going to do tonight. He's like, I don't know, love on you, sleep. Why did they ask that? They know what's going to go down tonight. Why do you gotta? Then he answered, love on her. Fuck her. He said it. He told y'all. Y'all are nasty for asking that. I'm going to love on her. She asked if he checked how late he can get french fries from McDonald's. He's like, no, I haven't checked yet. He's driving. He's in the car, Gypsy. He's not even in town yet. God. You don't even know what time you're getting out of prison. You're already asking about the damn french fries. He gets off the phone. He's like, that's Gypsy Rose. That's my wife. There's a long pause. She's so good. And I love her. He's so obsessed with her. And I noticed that he talks to the cameras a lot. He's in the vehicle by himself, but he's talking to the cameras. Continues to talk about how he's so nervous. It's going to be a whole new ball game with Gypsy out. They show Ryan, he's at the hotel, and he's showing off the family heirloom wedding ring he has for Gypsy. He's going to give that to her when he gets the call, and he can pick up Gypsy at 3:15 in the morning. I feel like they did it that late because they were waiting for media to leave the prison because they didn't want cameras around or anyone to see her get let out. And I noticed Ryan put on a big-ass heavy winter coat because it's ice cold in Missouri in December, and he's from Louisiana. It's a big difference. So he came prepared. I want you all to remember that. Ryan in the car on the way to the Chillicothe prison, he's talking to himself again about how he's so nervous and excited. He pulls some cologne out of his little pocket. The pocket on his shirt. Gypsy loves this cologne. He's going to put it on to get her in the mood. Ryan got a lot of hate when this season aired about him pushing the sexual stuff too much on her. Like, clearly that's what he wanted to do, and you kind of get that vibe. But let me tell you, someone who's been in prison for 8 years with no D, that's exactly what she's been thinking about for the last 30 days. She's been waiting to get out of prison, is that night she's going to get some D for the first time in 8 years. That's what's going on. So I don't think y'all need to feel bad for Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Go read her prison emails. That's all she thought about while she was in prison. Ryan gets to the prison and the officer makes him turn off all the cameras in the car when he goes to pull in, and then they stop the production vehicle behind him, so no cameras on the property of the prison. So we don't get to see, we only have audio for the actual release. And you hear Ryan talking to one of the guards and he's asking if she's nervous. He's like, no, she's excited. Like, you're the only one that's nervous, Ryan. She's excited. She's getting out of prison for the first time in 8 years. There ain't no nervous. And the first thing she says when she comes walking out is, the boots don't fit. The boots don't fit. Oh, hey, baby, I've missed you. Hello, thanks for picking me up. None of that. The boots don't fit. Her boots don't fit, in case you couldn't understand me. I was wondering, like, did she order clothes and not know her boot size? Like, who got her clothes? Who set that up for her? As I get back into the car, and he's like, you look so nice in regular clothes. And she's like, I'm trying to get it to not show too much boob. Like, the clothes are really tight on her, so they're not the right size either. Who sent her clothes? He's like, oh, it's hot. She laughs as there. Ryan didn't bring her a coat. No one sent her a coat for winter in December in Missouri. She just had a long sleeve shirt on.
It's so weird being in a car. It's so weird being in a car.
I get to touch her leg. She's like,
This car's going really fast.
Ryan says he just can't stop smiling. He gets her ring out. It's a perfect fit. The clothes don't fit, but the ring does. He says, give me a kiss. She gives him a kiss. And don't wreck the car. She's definitely nervous being in a car. Ryan says that Christy wanted them to call her, and so he gets the phone out to call her, and she's like, oh, we're calling him right now? She's like, yeah. And something about this moment put me into perspective of the fact that Gypsy's a woman, and thinking of regular stranger danger type stuff. It was something about rushing her to call Christy when maybe she wasn't ready or didn't want to, but he did it anyway because he was making that choice. There was something about it that felt controlling. And it reminded me of what Rod said about if you do any stupid shit, remember, I got guns. Because you got to think, as a parent, this is your daughter, and she married a man who was writing to her in prison. And you think of the men who write to prisoners, and you're like, are they a predator? And she's never been alone with Ryan before, except behind prison walls. So this is her first time being alone with him. And I was just thinking of, like, this man could be a predator. You don't know that. You don't really know him. You've never been outside with him alone outside prison walls. He's been on his best behavior this whole time. So I kind of get why Rod said that. If you do any stupid shit, just remember I got guns. So if you hurt my daughter, pew pew, motherfucker. He did admit in the confession show that he was fanboying over her. So he's like a crazed fan that has now married her, weaseled his way into picking her up from prison. You know, it's a little suspicious. They hang up the phone after calling Christine. He's like, they gots to go. It's my time with my wife. And she goes, ooh. I don't know if she was saying that because the car was driving really fast or if she was like, ooh, get him, Ryan. But he doesn't like to share Gypsy. He says stuff like that multiple times. And I noticed that during this car ride, the two of them said that this is so surreal, like 10 to 20 times. This is so surreal, ain't it?
Being in a car is so surreal.
Word of the day, surreal. They get to the hotel and things start to get a little weird to me. This is where people got a lot of the hate towards Ryan, like pushing things on her. Because her body language was kind of rejecting him. She's sitting on the bed and he's looking at her like she's a snack. Like not a snack, like a whole damn meal. The way he's looking at her. She starts giggling. He's like, you look so damn good right now.
She's like, you can't stop staring at me.
He walks over to give her a kiss and asks if she wants any of them fries she's been asking about. You know, he's like, do you want any fries? And she goes to give him a kiss and she jerks her head back. No. I just want to be right now. I just want to be. And kind of mocks pushing him away. Get away from me. He's like, do you want me to leave, VB? And she's like, I don't want you to leave. I'm just processing. Like, well, I got fries and chips for you, whatever you want. She's like, we don't get fries in there. And all of a sudden, she wants the fries now. Those fries you've been asking about. The cameraman pans to the clock that's sitting on the table and it says 4:21. And I really feel like he tried to catch 4:20, but he missed it by a minute. They go to lay down on the bed and she's like, this bed is so comfortable. He's like, you're so comfortable. What does that even mean, Ryan? He's like, I just want to hold you.
I was cold all night, but I'm not cold anymore.
Look, I can rub up on you and love on you. And he's rubbing her arm and then it cuts to the door. the tour of the hotel. Like, they're like, ah, that was our cue to go. We out. They're in the hotel room. It says 7 hours after release, and Ryan and Gypsy are dressed up for the day, and she's like,
Look at my first ever selfie.
she should have specified that it was her first selfie out of prison, because now she looks like a liar. You have so many selfies, girl. What are you talking about? You used to take a lot of late night selfies back in the day before the crime. She asks him how to text people back. She asked Ryan, how do I text people back? She pretended to not know how to use a cell phone. This makes me so angry. I get so irritated at this because bitch knew how to use a cell phone before her crime. It's not like she went to prison in 1994, okay? She went to prison in 2015. There were smartphones and she had one. She was arrested with a cell phone. She acts all shocked, like,
Oh, when I text it, I'm saying I'm leaving and it pops up house, airport, hotel.
creepy. She acts like she came out of a damn time machine or something. She went to prison in 2015, people. Then they show Gypsy and she's telling production what they're going to do today. They're going to leave town and
She's got to walk out to the car in the shoes that don't fit until we go get shoes that do fit.
who got you shoes, Gypsy? You're clearly reminding whoever it is that they got you the wrong size shoes and you're pissed off about it. But she doesn't even walk out to the car from the hotel in the boots that don't fit. She walks out barefoot in her socks, and everyone got pictures of her leaving the hotel somehow. Everyone knows what hotel she was staying at. I mean, sure, there's probably only one hotel in Chillicothe, Missouri, if I'm being honest. Recently, Gypsy said she just got some glasses because she says that her vision gets blurry when she's tired. Show here, they're in the car and she puts on some glasses. And Ryan says, ooh, I love them glasses. She's like, aren't they pink? Aren't they cute? That's so cute. She says, oh, I can see better. I mean, I'll play devil's advocate. She got let out at 3 a.m. It's 7 hours later. She clearly didn't get much sleep because she was all night. So maybe she can't see because she's tired. Ryan asked her how it felt to be in the room by herself because it was her first time being alone in like 8 years because he took a shower, and she said it was nice being able to do her makeup and call the media and tell them what shoe store they're going to. Mike shows up. Mike Stanfield, her lawyer, ex-lawyer turned manager, shows up at the house that Rod and Christy are staying at. They're all hugs, and Christy gives really long hugs. It's uncomfortable. I'm not a hugger. They do a little interview with Mike, and he talks about how he's been doing this for 16 years, and he's never had a case like this before. Because it's unprecedented, right, Mike? He says that this is the final chapter that he worked so hard on, and the outcome that he wanted, that one day she would get to come home to her dad and her stepmom and live a normal life. I don't think he worked that hard, though, because he was just handed a plea deal. Ryan parks the car and she's like,
I gotta wear those things again.
Talking about the shoes, the boots, and he's like, just for a minute, baby. That was her trying to passive aggressively ask you, will you go get the shoes for me so I don't have to wear these again, without just asking it. And then she gets cold when they get out of the car, so he has to pull a jacket out of his suitcase. I don't know why he didn't pull his coat. He got a big-ass winter coat he has somewhere, but he pulls a little Adidas jacket out of his suitcase to give to her, and she's swimming in his massive jacket, and she's got her unzipped boots as she's trying to clunk along walking, and he's dragging her, and she's like, I'm trying not to walk that fast so I don't fall and die. And as they're walking in, there's people recording them on their phones or with their big old cameras with the honking lens on there. Media's there. They know exactly what shoe store you were going to in Chillicothe, Missouri, because they knew that you needed shoes. The whole time they're walking into the store, there's like this violin plucking, like dun, 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 like suspenseful music playing. They come out of the store and all those media guys are keyed up and ready to take pictures, ask questions. What are you doing?
I got these new shoes.
What are your plans?
Lots of them.
Ryan looks stressed about the situation, but Gypsy looks pleased. She loves it. You can tell. Get in the car and they're both like, what the hell was that? She's acting real hard, like she doesn't know. Or at least like she didn't like it or something. The cameramen all get into their cars and start following them, and Ryan gets pissed. He's like, I don't want him knowing where we're going. Can we just call the police? She goes, Ugh. It cuts to a commercial break. When they come back from the commercial break, they show all the clips of people who got images of Gypsy at the shoe store, and they have this article that comes up that says, "Let's get some shoes."
Oh my god, shoes. Let's get some shoes. Let's get some shoes. Let's get some shoes. Let's get some shoes.
The TikTokers on their little clips are talking about how Gypsy's going to the Kansas City Chiefs game to meet Taylor Swift, doing what she used to do with her mom, using her status to meet celebrities. Granted, Dee Dee and Gypsy weren't to the level of status that Gypsy is now. They still had a lot of people who knew who they were. They were in the news any chance you got here in Missouri, at least. If you were in Missouri, you knew who Gypsy Rose Blanchard was. Ryan and Gypsy are in the car on the way to the house that Rod and Christy are staying at. They're talking about the people that are following them. And I noticed Gypsy lick her lips excessively. Like a big old, it doesn't look normal. I think that this comes from a habit of her licking her lips from drooling because of her excessive saliva. That's why her salivary glands were removed. In case you didn't know, that's why her salivary glands were removed, because she had excessive saliva problems. And you can still see residual effects of that. She still has a habit of drastically licking her lips. She doesn't do it as much in season 2. I think she watched season 1 and noticed it, tried to cut back on it because she doesn't need to do it anymore because her saliva glands were removed, so she doesn't have excessive saliva. It's just a habit, a tick she does. In my opinion, they show on screen that Gypsy is being patrolled by 2 parole officers, one in Missouri and one in Louisiana. Ryan has a voicemail and they have to call the parole officer in Missouri, so they do this in the car, was seeming to clear it up. He's okay with them going to the game. She cleared it with her parole officer in Louisiana, so everything's okay. The whole time she's on the phone, she had her innocent, polite little voice. You could hear it. And then as soon as they hang up the phone, it was like, tension's out. They're like, fuck! He's like, you need to go to Louisiana now. They instantly turned off their polite. The parole officer thought that they were just going to go straight to Louisiana as soon as they woke up that morning. But they heard the news reports that she's going to a Kansas City Chiefs game, and they're like, "Nuh-uh, sister, you're getting out of the state." Did you notice her lick her lips again in that clip after she got off the phone? I'm not trying to make fun. I'm trying to point out something that's part of her medical history. The next scene, we see Mike, Rod, and Mia in the living room sitting at the house. And I think production asked Mike to say something about this, but he asks them, what do you think about the Kansas City Chiefs game and the Taylor Swift? Mia immediately is like, I don't like it. Rod says that when they went through stuff, they found receipts from charitable foundations and country singers. There was more than one than just Melissa Lambert. Her mom taught her to do this type of stuff, and he doesn't want this to fester in her, where she does it too. To me, I feel like Rod thinks that Gypsy's gonna do the same things Dee Dee was doing. They show Ryan and Gypsy again, and they're hauling ass in the car. He's trying to lose these people that are following them, and she's like, drive safe. Don't wreck the car. And they pull up into the house, into the garage as fast as they can, and they get another phone call from the parole officer. The Missouri parole officer calls again. He's like, actually, I talked to the officers, and you don't have permission to go to the Kansas City Chiefs game. Claims again that she spoke to her PO officer and officers at the institution and got permission. He's like, that doesn't matter. I'm giving you a directive. You need to leave the state. No stops at Kansas City. So Ryan and Gypsy go into the house after this phone call, and they walk into the room that everyone's sitting down waiting for her to walk in, and Rod and Mia stand up to go give her a hug as soon as she walks in the room, but Christy just stays there. But earlier in the episode, she's like, countdown, last day here. Tomorrow she'll be with us, all excited. But here we are. She doesn't even move when she walks into the room. And then this upbeat pop music playing when this moment comes.
Baby.
She says, oh, give me a hug, Mom. Don't be crying on me.
It's like, I've been crying on and off all day. She goes to give Mike a hug and ignores everybody else in the room. There was a lady from season 2, the one that talked to her like she was a child. It's like, oh, you got sweets? Look at you. Like she's a baby. She was there, and she goes to take a step forward like she was going to get a hug, and Gypsy just turned her back on her and then goes and sits by Rod on the couch. And then Ryan's speaking to the room, telling him about the parole officer call and how they have to go to Louisiana right now. Ryan says, our intake was on the 3rd, but they're saying we need to go to Louisiana right now. Mike pipes up, and he's like, looks like I will be working today. I'm sorry for my child playing and stimming in the other room. This is a snow day. Random snow day on the day I planned to film. I apologize. So 30 minutes later, the parole officer calls again. He's like, It's just making sure you understood that you need to be leaving the state and going to Louisiana because you need to be traveling right now. He's basically like saying, I don't hear you traveling. Where you can't be in Kansas City right now. And Mike grabs the phone and, excuse me, I'm Mike Stanfield. I was the attorney on this case. Missouri parole officer says that Missouri is supervising her until she leaves the state, and I'm basically telling you gotta go. And Mike's like, oh, so you just want her to leave the state of Missouri? And the PO says, the thing is, we just need to make sure she needs to be where she needs to be. And he's basically saying, get the F out of the state. Mike continues on and said, well, they haven't really had any sleep. She was released at 3 a.m. They've had like 2 hours of sleep. The PO says she needs to report there immediately. Mike's like, well, the office isn't even open till the 3rd. So even if they leave and they get there at 8 a.m. tomorrow, she can't report there because they're closed. The parole officer repeats himself and says she needs to report to Louisiana immediately. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, those are the rules. Gypsy can't follow rules, though. Mike is still defending her, and he's like, she already reported to her parole officer in Louisiana. I spoke to him myself 30 minutes ago. I wonder if that was true or if he was lying. Because they didn't show him talking to her parole officer in Louisiana on the episode. They cut that out if he did. And while Mike is having this conversation, you can hear the audio, but they're following Gypsy around because she's melting down at this point. The whole time this phone conversation's going on, she's crying, and Christy and Ryan are trying to console her, and she's like,
I just need a moment.
she goes and locks herself in the bathroom, and Christy follows her in there. She's like, listen to mom, baby. You did the hardest part.
She's like, what if they send me back?
They aren't going to send you back. And that's pretty much how they end the episode. They show Gypsy in a room. They have this angle of her sitting in the mirror, and she's just
Huge culture shock.
She does not feel free right now, is what she says. She feels like she's in a different form of prison. God, with the theatrical behavior. It's so dramatic. It's so dramatic to think that being on parole and not being able to go to a Kansas City Chiefs game to potentially meet Taylor Swift is another form of prison. Bitch, I didn't get to go to a Kansas City Chiefs game, and it's not prison. I can't think like this person. I cannot think like her. My brain does not compute what she says.
I'm just an average bear.
Because if she wasn't Gypsy Rose Blanchard and her life wasn't being reported everywhere, she would have been able to go to this game. If she was just some average person who murdered their mom and then was released on parole, well, actually, no, that wouldn't happen because women who cohort and plan their mother's murder are still in prison because she's not an average bear. She got handed a nice, pretty plea deal. But if she was a normal person, no one would have known that she was going to a Kansas City Chiefs game. No one would have known that she stayed an extra couple days in Kansas City if she was an average bear. But there are rules, Gypsy Rose Blanchard, and you gotta follow them. And I think that's why she thinks parole is another form of prison, because there are rules. Anyway, that's how the episode ends. If you like this video, please like this video. Please share, comment, any thoughts. If you want me to do Gypsy Rose prison confessions, I'll do that too. The people stay for Gypsy because there's a truth movement and we're getting this out. I hope I hit a true crime community algorithm and you guys are new to this information about Gypsy Rose Blanchard, and go hit up Becca Scoops. I should probably reference Becca Scoops in every video. Go watch Becca Scoops. Hop on the truth train. Bye.